Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. All right, guys, tonight for our episode, we are going to do one of my favorite things that we do together in our fight for gun rights. We take a look at the arguments from gun control, and when they start really going into the actual meeting rubber to the road, like, for example, like tonight we're going to talk about Mexico suing United States gun manufacturers, which we've talked about, and we introduced it when it came out. But more importantly, when they do this, when they actually have to start trying to prove the case that they're putting forward, it always disproves their point completely. And that's one of my most favorite aspects. Most favorite. I said it right. But I've got it linked in the description box below for your review. And I want to know what you guys think on this, because this right here is how Mexico disproves gun control completely while suing U.S. gun manufacturers for gun control. It's twisted, it's convoluted, but it's awesome. Check this out. Here we go. It's linked in the description box. Let me hear from you. Let's dive in. Gun makers ask U.S. court to dismiss Mexico's claim for damages. Again, that's the billions of dollars that the Mexican government is suing U.S. manufacturers, right? Gun manufacturers have urged a U.S. court to dismiss a Mexican lawsuit that holds them responsible for the violence inflicted by drug cartels. Mexico is seeking billions in damages, accusing manufacturers of facilitating the illegal trafficking of weapons. Now, that's the important piece here, the illegal trafficking of weapons, because obviously gun manufacturers aren't having illicit backdoor deals with cartels. What the Mexican government is saying is, because the guns are available in the United States, therefore they filter over here through illicit activities, and therefore it's your fault. Nah, that ain't gonna happen. But this is where they start to disprove the entire case for gun control. Look at this through a different lens, and you will immediately see what I'm talking about. In 2019 alone, some 17,000 murders in Mexico were linked to trafficked arms. Mexico's strict rules on arms sales mean they can only be purchased legally at one shop in Mexico City. Mexican government has extreme control over the guns in the Mexican population. They do have some guns available, like it says, one gun shop. There's a few different ways that you can get a couple handguns. But by and large, they have gun control. By and large, very strict gun laws. And yet, they actually have more murders than we do in an actual year with firearms. Isn't that interesting? Because remember, here in the United States, they say 40,000 victims of gun violence each year. And then they say in the background, really quietly, 2/3 were suicides. Well, that means around 13,000 were homicides. Mexico has more, but they have complete gun control. They don't mention that in this article, but they say it. Read between the lines. Gun control works so well that I have to sue you for all the gun violence that's happening in my country. It's almost like guns are going to be guns and criminals are going to be criminals, and criminals are going to use guns for their illicit activities because they own the government. But anyway, I digress. Mexico says criminal organizations therefore buy thousands of weapons in the U.S. A U.S. department found that some 70% of firearms recovered in Mexico between 2014 and 2018 had come from the U.S. But again, I beg the question, if there's extreme arms control in Mexico, how is that possible? Very similar to California, very similar to Chicago, New York. All of these gun control zones, and in this case, gun control countries, have extreme gun problems. That's perplexing. That's like saying the desert has a problem with rain and stopping all rain from falling, but then saying they flood a lot. Doesn't make sense. But let's keep going. Mexico's lawsuit accuses some of the biggest gun manufacturers of knowingly contributing to illegal arms trafficking and fueling bloodshed through reckless business practices. Reckless business practices by legally selling guns in the United States, so they're putting a subjective title from their own Mexican perspective onto a United States American perspective on the Second Amendment, because it's a clash of cultures, as the article actually states in here. That's important because they're putting a subjective nature on the companies knowingly contributing to illegal arms trafficking by selling guns in the United States. That doesn't make sense on any level, and everyone knows it. This is just a ploy. It said the companies had sold, quote, ever more lethal weapons without, quote, mechanisms of security or traceability. So because they have a national registry in Mexico, and America doesn't have a national registry, therefore their standards should apply to United States manufacturers of firearms, in which we have it in our Constitution and they do not. Do you see how it starts to fall apart? And again, all of this is based on the precipice that gun control works completely as long as there aren't any guns. There's always going to be guns. There will always be guns. It's a thing. It's kind of like diseases. You can't really get the genie back in the bottle. Sorry, that's part of a thing. And that's what I have for you guys tonight. Always look deeper, and that is how we're going to pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation. Until tomorrow, I'm Braden. See you later.